Hello, the internet, and welcome to day 2.
Hey there! Today we're talking about social stereotypes, what we fit into, and what kind of people we are. For me, the question is relatively easy to answer, at least it was when I was a youth. See, growing up, I was a nerd. Dice rolling, cartridge blowing nerd. And I took pride in that. I had a subscription to Nintendo Power, I played regular games of D&D with my friends, and it was altogether an enjoyable time. But as time went on, something else started to. I started to listen to a little bit more punk music, and that eventually grew into a part of my persona. And I dove into that head first. I got the heavy leather wristbands and the heavy amount of drinking. Started dyeing my hair all sorts of weird colors. I learned how to skank. Started going to shows and all of that stuff. And then as I turned into my 20s, especially living as a bartender in New York, that punk part of me started to grow. Throughout the vast majority of that time, I was drinking heavily, basically just starting trouble in Lower East Side bars and generally causing problems. It was a fun time, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't trade that for anything else. Again, time moves on. I went to school, started getting into poetry, started playing way more pool than usual. I turned into a bit of a New York socialite. So where does that start fitting into the graph, especially as I grew older? I turned into a bit of a hermit. I started turning into a cat man. Started really reading into all kinds of food. And eventually, bits and pieces of me just started adding up. And I did wonder for a really long time, was I still a nerd? Was I still a punk? Did I start building into new sorts of things? Because, I mean, honestly, I still game. When I game hard. But in the end, when it boils down to it, you can't really look at a graph of all the various things that you are. Instead, you start realizing that all of these things add up to who you are, who you have been, what you've been doing with your life. So if you ask me, honestly and truly, what I am, the answer kind of stops being much of a mystery. Anyway, take it easy, guys. Love your faces. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, you are the worst cat, Zervin. The worst.